Hello and welcome guys. In this tutorial, let's understand how to install MongoDB on Linux, especially on distros. To introduce MongoDB on a high level, MongoDB is a source available cross-platform document-oriented database program. I'll provide this PDF in the blog post. You can read about it. But the big difference what I want you to understand is MongoDB falls under NoSQL database, unlike any traditional RDBMS. This is one thing. And the second thing is there are two kinds of implementation in MongoDB. One is replication and the second one is sharding. I'll talk about it in a bit. The big advantage of using MongoDB is definitely high availability. In any MongoDB implementation, being it be sharded as a replica set, there would be a minimum of 3 servers. At any given point of time, the recommendation from MongoDB would be to use odd number of servers. For example, we have 3 server replica set: primary, secondary, and another secondary. So the data between all the servers at any given point of time would be same. So for any reason, let's say our primary server is down due to server restart or could be data center issues or for any reason, if the primary is down, out of these 2 available secondaries, one would become primary. The election process would kick off and one of the eligible secondary would become primary. For example, let's say this server is promoted to primary. Now we have 2 servers, primary and secondary are only available servers in the cluster. So whenever you know that, from the notification or from the monitoring alert, you came to know that one of the server is down, you would fix it. So as soon as you fix this server, it would update the data by itself. No manual steps are required. As soon as the server which was down is up to speed with respect to data, the status of this server would be promoted to secondary. So the earlier the server was acting as primary, now it becomes secondary and joins to the cluster. So again, what happened was the primary is changed and primary PSS, primary secondary cluster is formed. I have listed the same thing here. You can read if you want. Alright, now let's try to understand how replica set works. So this red color arrow mark indicates this is application facing server. In a replica set, application facing server always will be primary server. The intention of the primary server is the application would connect to primary and write the data. Either it could be insert the new records, update the existing, or deleting the records. Each and every operation would be executed from the application on primary only. Okay. Now the job of secondaries is to come to primary server, periodically check for any updates in the data and get update themselves. As we have previously understood, whenever the primary server goes down, one of the available secondaries would become primary, and the application would whenever any connection comes from the application, the driver which we use would route the connection to primary, so that as this secondary has changed it to primary, right? So the job of the driver is to route the connection to primary. So automatically connection will come to this server and the application functionality goes smoothly. There would be kind of no downtime though one of your database server is down. So this is one big advantage of MongoDB. So if in worst case scenario you have 3 servers, let me clear this. In worst case scenario, let's assume we have 3 server replica set: primary, secondary. So let's assume one of your server is down, and this is down due to maybe some hard disk is 100% utilized, and let's assume that this server is also down due to some data center issues. Okay, DC issues. Even in this situation, the only server which is currently present or the only server which is live would turn to primary, and the application functionalities go smoothly. So as long as you have at least one server running out of all the present nodes, even one node is up and running, the application would function smoothly. This is one big advantage of using MongoDB. Alright, let me clear this out, and this is how replica set works. Now let's understand how sharding works, or sharded cluster works in MongoDB. Here the implementation is kind of different. If you see, these three forms one replica set, but application facing servers are not primary in this case, but application facing servers are MongoOS. If you see here, the red arrow indicates the application facing servers. MongoOS, you can have more than one MongoOS. Here in this example, we have three MongoOSs here. So this is because if one of the MongoOS goes down again, we have multiple MongoOSs covered, which would serve the application, right? So what happens is the connection from the application comes to MongoOS, okay? And okay, before explaining that, what I would want to discuss is so when in the sharded cluster, right? When we opt for sharded cluster is if you expect lot of data growth in terabytes down the line, then you opt for sharded cluster. So now what happens is the database, we always in sharded cluster there will be always more than one shard 0 and shard 1 in this example. So what Mongo does is it's try to balance the data between the two shards. For example, if you have 100 GB of data, then it would the MongoDB would try to align them 50 GB to each of the shards. Shard 0 would be having 50 GB and shard 1 would be having 50 GB. So you might land into a scenario where there is a database called X which has few of the data stored in shard 0 and few of the data stored in shard 1. So because of this scenario, the the sharded cluster have different implementation. Now how Mongo understands, let's discuss a scenario where the application has requested a query Q1 in which it would opt 10 records from shard 0 and some 90 records from shard 1. So how MongoDB queries this is, so the connection come from application to MongoOS, then the MongoOS routes the connection to config servers. Config servers are the ones who understands that who read the query and understand where to route the connection, either to shard 0 or shard 1 or to both the shards. So they decide config server's work is to identify and route the connection to respective shards. Here once the connection is routed to a particular primary of the shard, then the query executes and accumulates the data and pass the information to the application. This is how the entire connection flows in the sharded cluster. So MongoOS are the listeners, config servers have the information like which shard has what database and all those details on a high level, and then the shards are the ones who actually stores the data between each of them. So this is on a high level sharded clusters explanation. So let me clear this out. Basically I was discussing that there are two types of implementation in MongoDB. These are the two. This replica set is straightforward, primary secondary architecture. In Mongo terms it's called PSS, and the sharded sharded cluster is kind of we have MongoOS, we have config servers, and then the shards. These are the two. If you have questions on this, please leave a comment. I will try to answer. Let's try to install MongoDB on Linux server. To show you on what OS I am currently running on, I would run a command cat etc os release and grep name. As you can see, I am running on CentOS 7. The installation of MongoDB would be same on Red Hat Linux, CentOS, Alma Linux. Basically all the based Linux distributions. To install MongoDB on my server, I would need to create a repo. To do that, I'll go to my blog, and you can see that we have few prerequisites which I have listed out. One will be the production nodes, which you want to check if the installation is on production, and the second one is, as you have discussed, replica set versus sharded cluster, and the third thing is limits. I have placed it in prerequisites, but this is basically post MongoDB installation step, which I would correct my blog. And then the optional one is to like attach a new disk other than OS and mount it to server and create those directories. If you see, I have created a data directory, and inside data directory I have two more directories named app and log, app and log, which I would use. I would show you a way to use. Let's continue the installation process. To do that, I would copy this VA command and paste it on the server so that the file is created. And inside the file, I would just copy paste the script. This you can get from the MongoDB official documentation as well. As while recording this tutorial, 6.0 was the latest version from them. I would say close it, and then I would just run a command sudo yum install MongoDB. So if in case the yum command has no longer support, you can use dnf command. As I have given -y option, all the required dependencies would be auto installed while the MongoDB is being installed. A like for this video would be great from your side. As you can see, all the dependencies are slowly being installed on our server. Yeah, there we go. The MongoDB installation is now finished. I'll quickly grab the query to start the MongoDB process. Service MongoDB start, and the service has started. To confirm it, I would run a command service MongoDB status. As you can see, the service is active, which is up and running. That's how you install MongoDB. Now I will show you a few post installation configurations which you would want to do on your environment. The first and the foremost thing is to open the MongoDB config file. To do that, I will run a command cat etc mongodb.conf. This is just to check the configuration file is in the right path or not. So I would just go ahead and open the file with etc/mongodb.conf. Here I'm interested to change three things. The first one being in storage, in system log, I will change the path to /data and /log, and then mongodb.log would be my log file name. And the second one would be in the storage, the DB path. The path where the actual database files are stored. It would be /data and then app. In the application, I want to store all the DB files. And the third thing is in net, you would see something called bind IP. As of now, the default configuration is to only access connections from localhost, and in the comment you can see if you enter 0.0.0.0, which means it is open to the internet and you can connect to the MongoDB from the internet. That is how you install MongoDB on a Linux server. If you like the content, please give a thumbs up to this video, and see you soon. Have a good day ahead. Bye for now.